Live from the Business Radio X studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and we are coming to you from the Business Radio X studio inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta. Folks, today you're connected more than ever, whether it's your friends, your family, or your life. Renaissance understands how you bank, offering the mobile banking services that you need. Renaissance also knows that sometimes you need to speak to real people with real answers, and that's why they have almost, over 190 convenient locations throughout the South ready to serve you. For more information, go to renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And, of course, we're partial, but we think the location in Windward Parkway and Alpharetta is the best one, but there's 189 other great locations throughout the South, so check them out there. Folks, I want to welcome an old pal, Keith Daniel with Nichols, Cauley. He's a CPA with Nichols, Cauley. Keith, welcome.
Thank you very much, John. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. So I've already spilled the beans and told everyone you're a CPA, but tell folks a little bit about you and your firm.
Yeah, John, I'm a CPA here in Georgia. I've been licensed for close to 30 years now. I'm a shareholder of Nichols, Cauley. Nichols, Cauley is a middle market CPA firm here in Atlanta. We actually have 9 offices in Georgia. Firm started out in the 70s in Middle Georgia, and back in the 90s moved and opened an office here in Atlanta, and has since grown quite a bit here in the Atlanta market. But we're now all over Georgia, and we have a new office in Florida. So we're growing and continuing to branch out.
Define middle market. That's because everybody's got a different definition of that, right?
They do. So for us, a middle market, we obviously started out as a small firm in middle Georgia, and so grew that. So to me, a middle market is serving companies on the low end, a couple of $1 million a year in revenue, up to I have clients in the $600-700 million range, but all closely held businesses. And the sweet spot for the middle market for us is companies between 20 and maybe $150 million in revenue.
And lots of those around in Florida and Georgia. But I'm sure you're like a lot of firms of your description. You have clients really all over the place. It depends on where you get referred in and that kind of thing, right?
We do. We have clients in Wisconsin, Maryland, New York. I have a very good client in Boston. Also, we'll be leaving in a week or so to go down to Fort Myers for a client that I have down there that I'm working with. And then I also have a client that's in California. So, even though we're here in Atlanta, we do business all over the country.
Awesome. Talk about the verticals that you specialize in, Keith. What are there particular industry verticals that are good sweet spots for you?
Yes. I do a lot of work in manufacturing and distribution. Also have quite a few clients in the construction and contracting business, and I have done quite a bit of healthcare in my career. So, and still do quite a bit with physician groups, post-acute rehabilitation, and that kind of thing.
We're speaking with Keith Daniel, and Keith is with Nichols, Cauley, CPA firm here in the metro Atlanta area. Now, Keith, I'm always interested to hear from CPAs about what they're seeing with their clients. You know, what inferences can you draw about what's going on in the economy from the performance you're seeing from your clients? Because we're in this kind of window of time where it's been good for a long time. And, you know, I think a lot of us wonder how long this is going to last. But what are you seeing out there?
Well, you said it right. I mean, times have been really good for the past 10 years.
Sure.
It's gotten maybe less than that, but right now people are making a lot of money. We're seeing, I have conversations frequently with bankers, and I was meeting not long ago with an asset-based lender. And I told him, I said, I guess you probably feel like the Maytag repairman right now.
Right.
Just not a lot of people looking for that kind of help.
Right.
Companies are making money. They have a lot of cash. The big problem is managing cash, managing tax obligations, and just kind of those are the problems that most all of my clients have right now. Right now in this economy, if you're not making money, you're doing something wrong.
Sure.
So we're just seeing a lot of liquidity. We're also seeing with that, we're seeing a lot of merger and acquisition work. And we do a lot of that, buy side and sell side. We're seeing a lot of baby boomers who have decided, hey, I'm going to get out at the top. So they're selling their businesses, and just a lot of activity in that area.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's a area that a lot of business owners, they don't really think ahead. Maybe you've got more prescient business owners than other folks do, but I think a lot of them really don't think ahead to that eventual sale and where they're going to end up. Do you see that? I guess number one, and number two is, what do you counsel your business owners that do want to sell? How should they prepare, and when should they start preparing?
Well, I don't think our clients are any different than anyone else's. I'd just say that first. I mean, some are better than others.
Sure.
Some people have a high level of situational awareness about themselves and their businesses and where they are and what they should be doing. We try to counsel people that, every situation's different. But for the people that are in the right spot at the right time, we try to make them aware of the fact that, hey, look, now's the time. If you've thought of exiting the business, you need to start doing the things that necessary to do that. And so, in my mind, those things are: get your house in order financially, make sure your books and records are correct, straight, they're all current, taxes have been filed. And we try to encourage our clients to, the ones where it's appropriate, to go ahead and have reviewed or audited financial statements in hand, maybe have a business valuation done to understand what the value of your business is, so that you can begin to develop some sense of where you're going to be when you exit. I have a couple of partners in the firm that do a lot of M&A. So we're also looking at the tax side of those exit strategies and trying to help develop a strategy for exiting that is very grounded in terms of having a sound tax strategy for that.
And in terms of an audit, in terms of evaluation, how far ahead of a sale should that occur? You certainly don't want to do that the year before, right? I mean, I would think you'd want to have a little more runway. Like on a valuation, wouldn't you want to have some idea of not just the value of the business, perceived value of the business, but what a valuation would tell you about that business, but maybe where some of the weak spots in that valuation are in terms of what that reveals about your business, right?
Sure. So, I mean, we obviously, if you have the luxury of time, we would tell somebody that it would be great if you had three years of audits in hand, or reviews, whatever the case may be, what's most appropriate for the business owner. That's in a perfect world, you'd want to have that. But certainly as you're going through that process, part of that is to identify any kind of enterprise risk that you might have that would affect your valuation. So that's something else that our firm is involved in. I just recently completed an enterprise risk assessment for a client and helping them prepare for a sale, so that you can, if you will, plug the holes, so that you don't have those vulnerabilities because even if you have the audits in hand and you've done your own valuation, any potential buyer is going to come in and do their own quality of earnings review, and then they're going to also want to have their own valuation analyst. At a minimum, they're going to review the valuation we've done and try to critique the assumptions made in that valuation if they don't do their own valuation. So certainly you would want to coach them up on where they have some vulnerabilities and where they're likely to get adjusted, if you will, for any weaknesses that they have in their business. So, yeah, that's just part of it.
Yeah, if you give the buyer of a business any daylight at all to try to knock down the price, they'll take it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of what that's all about. Enterprise risk assessments are something that a lot of people do not think about. They're very valuable. We do a lot of that kind of work as well. And that can be very useful when trying to identify those weaknesses.
And better to get that done ahead of time. We've already said that, but let's say it again, right?
Absolutely.
Talk about, I'm just interested, because CPAs, I think, see just a little bit of everything. It seems like, and particularly a guy like you've been around the block, seen a lot of different companies, a lot of different situations. Give me a couple of examples of some interesting engagements, companies, stories you'd like to tell about your career, folks you've worked with.
I have, yes, when you've been around as long as I have, you've seen some different things. I have been involved in all sorts of international initiatives. We do fraud, a fair amount of fraud. I've done a lot of fraud work in my past, and was once involved with a client who had a subsidiary in Munich, Germany, and they were having some issues. So basically was tasked with going over to determine what was going on and why they were never getting paid for products that they were moving over there to the sub, and went over and found out, well, hey, your general manager over there is embezzling money.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, great. So was over there, determined that this was going on. So they asked me to go back and begin a fraud investigation, and found out that long and short of it was the guy had embezzled somewhere north of about $3 million and had ruined their business. So we helped them restructure the company, identify some suitors to buy that, and to let them exit, trying to manage an operation over there, and help them with that. So that was very interesting. That was about a little over a year project.
Wow.
So that was very interesting. And then had some interesting things I did down in Monterrey, Mexico, with a company down there, with a company that I've had as a client for years that had a subsidiary down there. So that was kind of interesting. Getting involved in Mexico and doing business down there is definitely a different world. And then just here locally, a few years ago, helped a client that was in the construction industry work on a brand initiative, which you would have never thought that a CPA would be involved in. And the long and short of that was it led to me helping them negotiate a contract with Fox to produce a reality show.
Wow.
Did that with Tim Tebow and Mike Holmes. So that was kind of interesting. Took a direction I would have never expected. But interesting, and definitely a one-off nonetheless. And that was very interesting. So, but beyond that, it's we try to do the traditional CPA services, but we do a fair amount of consulting work for clients that go in all different directions. Those are just a few of the things I've done that have been a little bit unique.
Folks, we're speaking with Keith Daniel, CPA, and sounds like part-time branding guy from Nichols, Cauley. That's awesome. And what that says is you're a trusted advisor to your clients, right?
That's right. And really that's what it's all about for us. And that's what clients are looking for. Anyone can do an audit.
Sure.
Anyone can, well, not anyone, but a lot of firms can do audits.
Yeah.
A lot of firms can do tax returns. But John, you said it right. I mean, what clients and business owners are looking for is they're looking for someone that they can trust. And you've met that threshold with a client when they're calling you at night to ask, hey, my kid's in school, he's having an issue, what do I do? And I'm thinking to myself, this has nothing to do with accounting. Why are you calling me? Mm-hmm. And it really speaks volumes. They trust us.
Sure.
Right. So we get into all facets of people's lives. And when you get to that level with a client, you've become that trusted advisor.
Yeah, for sure. So I think given the answer you just gave, I think I've got part of where you're going to go with this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Lots of CPA firms out there, what makes yours different than others that are around?
Well, I think that what makes Nichols Cauley a little bit different is that we're not a big city firm. We didn't start out as a big city firm. We actually started in middle Georgia, and we came to Atlanta. So with that, this may sound a little bit corny, but with that, we've brought a lot of our homespun values of putting the client first and truly putting the client first. Mm. And I know that myself and my partners truly believe that if we always put the client and their interest first, we're always taken care of, mm-hmm. and we always succeed and prosper as a result of that. And we also get a great deal of loyalty from our clients for that, and are able to rely on our clients to refer us new business. And that's helped us grow a lot. So it's that with our, we're very hands-on. I often go out to new client opportunities, and one of the things that I hear very often is, I met the partner when they came out. I haven't seen the guy or the lady since. Mm-hmm. And I've been a client of theirs 3 years now, and I don't even get phone calls from them anymore. Mm. So we are not like that. I'm very plugged into my clients. I'm very attentive to what they're doing, and they see me several times a year, and it's just kind of part of our formula for success, and it's worked quite well for us.
Well, the personal touch is certainly important, but technology is as well. And you're no different than any other firm in trying to use technology. Talk about how that works at your firm.
Well, so with, we have all of the audit software and all of the data transmission technology that all the other firms have, but more and more being able to use client portals to securely transmit data, especially in the world where you've got a lot of the identity theft going on, to be able to take advantage of that, because we do have 9 offices here in Georgia, and we do share resources across those offices, being able to, cloud host data so that anybody in our firm, no matter where they're at or no matter if they're at a client office, can access that data. And whether they're working from home or a client office or where that might be, being able to use that or access that data so they can do their job day to day, that's critical. And then also being able to share data and being able to go in and via remote access, look at what's going on with our client inside their system. Web portals, that kind of thing. And with the advent of the big data and that kind of thing, and data analytics, we're getting more and more into that because we do a lot of work in the banking community. I don't myself, but some of my partners are very involved in bank audits,
sure.
BSA work, internal audit, and that kind of thing. So the data analytics and being able to use that technology effectively in the audit realm has become more and more important. So we've invested in that and invest in the training on how to optimize our use for that. So it's been important, and it's going to continue to be important to keep ourselves competitive.
Keith, talk about some of the challenges that you're facing in this business environment. What does that look like for your firm?
It looks like it does for every other firm, from what I understand from other firms. It's, we're in a booming economy. Unemployment's low. Skilled labor is extremely hard to come by. So there's a constant battle for, top quality employees. And so that is really one of the biggest struggles that we and I think all other firms face, and that is just the battle for talent. And then to retain them, keep them happy. This generation that we're seeing come out of college in the last, 5-10 years, they're transient. It's no longer that mentality of I want to go somewhere and spend my career there. It's they come in, they're there 3, 4, 5 years, and they're already thinking about, hey, what's next? So, not only recruiting that talent, but retaining it is becoming tougher and tougher.
Talk about the growth side. Let's get to the positive side. Opportunities you've got for growth over the coming years.
Well, as long as the economy holds up, new business is not a problem. Today, one of the things I battle, and I know my partners and I have discussions about this, but in my mind, it's not so much about getting a new business, but it's about getting the business you want. Not all opportunities are really opportunities. So I think that you have to try to qualify some of these clients on the front end and be very careful about who you take. I talk all the time to people about, a firm is like your body. If you put junk food in your mouth, you're not healthy. And if you put bad clients into your firm, eventually your firm will not be healthy. So I think that you have to be very careful about who you commit to because we have limited resources.
Right.
And we have to, be careful about who we bring in because you make a commitment when you bring on a client. And once you've dedicated those resources, you can't take those and put them somewhere else. So all firms are limited by the people they have, and we're constrained by the people that we can get because of the competitive market. So there's more business out there than there are good quality people. So you just have to be very careful about who you take on from a new client perspective.
We're speaking with Keith Daniel, and Keith is a CPA with Nichols, Cauley. Keith, this has been great. Really appreciate you being with us. For those that would like more information, would like to be in touch with you, tell them how they can do that.
Well, you can call Nichols Cauley at 800-823-0117, or you can reach us on the web at www.nicholscauley.com. And we again have offices we have 3 offices here in Atlanta: Peachtree Corners, Kennesaw, and Canton, Georgia. Those are where our 3 offices in Atlanta are at. And then we have offices in Dublin, Warner Robins, Dalton.
Wow.
And again, we have one in Wildwood, Florida.
Awesome.
We're around.
Awesome. Sounds great. Keith Daniel with Nichols Cauley. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Folks, just a reminder, you can listen to this show on demand on your favorite podcast app. That might be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can even listen to us on YouTube. Just search North Fulton Business Radio and you will find us. I have yet to be stumped by a podcast app where folks couldn't find us. So check us out there. You can also go to northfultonbusinessradio.com. Check out our archive of shows. We're coming up on show number 200. We're going to be celebrating here sometime in early 2020 with that milestone. And a lot of great guests, great business leaders in this community like Keith that we've had the honor of interviewing. So check that out. And also connect with us on social media. That's North Fulton BRX on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook. So check us out there. So for my guest, Keith Daniel, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.
Renaissance Rewards Extra is the checking account that checks all the boxes. Roadside assistance? Check. Cell phone insurance? Check. More than 400,000 local shopping discounts? Check. Up to $25 per month in ATM refunds and a great rate? Check. All in an easy-to-use mobile app. To open an account or find out more about Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking, go to renaissancebank.com or visit us at any of our more than 190 locations throughout the South. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.